Welcome to the Seven Figure Leaders podcast. This podcast was created to celebrate the success stories of seven-figure business owners, giving them a platform to share their insights and lessons learned in order to inspire other business owners. As well as that, it's an opportunity to build new connections. So if you're a seven-figure business owner or someone who works with seven-figure business owners and you're looking for introductions to potential stakeholders, strategic partners and clients, I'd love to hear from you or have you on as a guest and see if I can help make those connections for you. Just go to synergycfosolutions.co. That's synergycfosolutions.co and click podcast. And there you'll find the link to apply. All right, we are live. So we've got Lee Betts, founder and managing director of Growthyard. Lee, welcome.
Thanks, Tom. How you doing?
Yeah, all good, thanks. Good to have you on. So I guess the best place to start, why don't you give us a bit of background into Growthyard, where it all came from and kind of where you're at now?
Yeah, sure. So without wanting to bore you, I sort of lifelong entrepreneur, failed at many things, studied entrepreneurship, started lots of businesses that didn't solve any real problems. And then 7 years ago, realized that what people actually need is help getting more customers. Essentially started what became a marketing agency, first helping a few people sort of generate more leads, realizing that was a real need. And then it very quickly grew. We went from 0 to 500 grand a year in the first 10 months. We sort of stumbled across a sort of marketing hack, if you like, that was working really well, adapted that over time. And today that is a 20-person marketing agency that's helped over 2,000 companies with their B2B marketing.
Great, sounds great. And who do you help exactly?
So our ICP really is sort of small companies, 5 to 50 employees typically, anywhere in the world. They're all B2B, and they're typically in sort of the tech space. So, IT, marketing, cybersecurity, software, those sorts of things.
Okay, good. And so you said prior to this, you failed at loads of things. Run us through the journey you've been on.
Yeah, sure. So I was trying to sell vitamins, not painkillers. So most of the businesses that I was working on were, these world-changing ideas, and they were completely innovative and new and things people hadn't done before. And I thought they were amazing. But there was a few things I got wrong. They didn't solve like a really painful problem. And also, I didn't really have a go-to-market strategy. I just assumed, as everyone did back in the day, that you'd start a few social media pages and the customers would turn up. But that's not how it works. That's not how business works. So, I probably started and failed at maybe 8 or 9 projects before I had my first profitable one. I think Growthyard was something like business number 10, and that was the only one that ever paid me more than I could go and earn elsewhere.
Okay, and how did you actually land on Growthyard when you found that, when you started doing that? How did you know it was the right one that you needed to carry on with?
Yeah, sure. So I was doing some freelance marketing on the side of these other businesses to earn some money, and I'd been doing some cold email for one of my clients, and I was like, "Oh, this is working quite well," and I was like, I might go out and see if I can get a couple more clients. So I used the tools I was using at the time. It was called Linked Helper. And that allowed me to go and scrape some details off LinkedIn and connect with some people, allowed me to find their email address. I sent those people an email and said, "Hey, do you need help finding some leads? I could do cold email for you." Within the first week, I had 3 people say, "Call me." I called all 3 of them. All 3 of them became clients. And I think that told me everything I needed to know. So we doubled down. Within 30 days, we were doing 50 grand a year in revenue, ARR, which is about double that I'd ever earned before. Within 90 days, we were doing 100 grand a year, and I just couldn't believe it. So really doubled down on that business and hired people to help me grow it.
Amazing. And then obviously that was in the early days, and now you're, what did you say, 7 years on?
7 years on, 20 employees and over 2,000 clients in. So
Wow.
we no longer do just cold email. Cold email we still do, and we still do effectively. In fact, we think we've done it for more companies than anyone else in the world. So we've got a lot of experience there. But we also do other things. So we do LinkedIn ads, which we've been getting some amazing results with. I think a lot of people are sleeping on that at the moment. We also do some Meta and Google ads as well. And we are expanding our service offering. But our core competency really is in sort of cold outreach and LinkedIn ads.
Okay. And are there any particular industries that this works best in, that you work best with?
So we've worked across 62 industries across about 20 different countries. So it pretty much works for any B2B business that has a customer lifetime value sort of over a couple of $1,000s. If you're really small ticket, it can be difficult. But pretty much any B2B business with a decent customer lifetime value.
Okay, nice. So have you got any examples you can share just so that anyone listening who's not familiar with kind of how cold outreach works can understand how it might fit into their business?
Yeah, sure. So, let's say you were a fractional CFO and you were looking to get more clients. We can build a list of ideal prospects for you. So there's a few ways we might do that. We might do that on Sales Navigator. We might do that, in Apollo, a lot of people use, or Ocean. Then what we do is we clean that list. We go and find all their data. We use AI to clean that data so we can put it into like an email, automated, but still have it personalized. And then we use tools to basically automate emails out to those people. Now, it sounds very simple. There's a lot more goes into it than that. But if we were to send 2,000 emails a month for you, you might get around 40 people sort of reply like semi-interested. And out of that, you might get, depends on the success of the campaign, but maybe 5 or 10 people book in a sales call with you and say, that sounds interesting. I'm willing to chat. And hopefully you get a couple of clients out of that. Now, you would pay us around £1,400 a month for that. And if you get a couple of clients, it's probably well worth it for you.
Yeah. And so typical ROI, do you have that available? I guess it depends on the product, doesn't it? But
Yeah, it can vary massively. Like we had one client sign Vodafone on a 200 grand contract in their first 4 weeks. And then you get other people who have a way smaller customer lifetime value. So it can vary massively. But it is for us still the cheapest form of B2B marketing.
okay.
We do lots to fill our own sales team. We've got, several full-time salespeople on our team. And cold email is still the cheapest. I can't tell you the exact cost per acquisition right now. I should be able to tell you. But LinkedIn ads, the cost per acquisition probably varies between sort of $500 and $1,000. Whereas cold email is probably more like a couple of $100s.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. And so, like you said, 7 years in. So what have you faced along the way that you weren't expecting? What challenges, what roadblocks?
Yeah, I think business changes a lot depending on the size of the entity. And it's different for everyone, every product, every industry. But it's the old cliche that like, you know, you're only as good as your team and as your people, and hiring is the most difficult thing. And it's kind of like, finding a product that people want and that you can sell at a profit is extremely difficult. And then once you get there, you realize you've actually got to hire lots of amazing people to help you do it. And finding good talent is probably the hardest task um, at a price that you can afford.
Hmm.
And then as that team grows, managing that, because once you get to 20 people, it means you probably got one person leaving every month or two. And then that creates lots of instability. You need, you know, backup people on the bench to come in and fill that role. And um, yeah, there's lots of complexities to it. And I'd say people is probably the hardest.
Okay. And did you say you're remote, or are you based in an office?
We're primarily in the office, so most of our team are in the office. That's sort of our core team. We do have a few overseas workers as well, and they are sort of crucial. But yeah, they're the minority in the team.
Yeah. And so obviously, if you're in an office, you're limited to whoever's within proximity to the office. Where are you based?
Yeah, so we're based in Newquay and Cornwall, and that has pros and cons. One, it's an amazing place to live.
Yeah.
Two, you know, free sort of remote working, it meant that salaries were lower. Now that people can work anywhere, salaries locally are creeping up. Um, but it does mean we also have a relatively limited talent pool. We've managed to find some amazing people, but we are struggling to find lots more amazing people
Yeah.
locally.
Yeah. And so obviously when you're hiring someone, you have to think about what that looks like from a financial perspective, how long it's going to take to pay off, and then obviously filling the churn, getting ready to hire more people when certain people leave. how have you managed the cash flow, managed the finances as you've grown over the years? Have you faced any problems with that?
So we're extremely lucky in that we're very cash flow positive. I know a lot of businesses aren't, and that must be a nightmare. And I don't know how they do it, to be honest. We're very lucky in that clients pay us up front.
Yeah.
So, our cash flow cycle is very short. We've always been cash flow positive. That has changed a little bit in recent years in that um, I've been taking profits out of the business to move up to my holdco to invest in other things. And that leaves less cash in the business, which means it has to be better managed. So we do now have a cash flow forecast, which we didn't for years. So yeah, it's difficult. And if you're not, you know, decent with numbers, then I can see how people could get in a muddle very quickly if they haven't got a good cash flow forecast.
Hmm. And in terms of managing your growth going forward, then, so what does it look like growth for you? Is that just a case of, investing, using up more of your team's resources on investing in your own cold email outreach strategies, or how do you grow from here?
Yeah, sure. So we sort of realized about 18 months ago we'd reached the peak with sort of cold email. We had around 200 clients, and maintaining that level of clients is very difficult. And so we said, okay, we've maybe reached a plateau here with this particular service. We should start doing something else. LinkedIn ads was working well for us at the time, so we essentially added that as a service. We then hired someone from LinkedIn, which helps. They were fantastic, and have helped us get some great results for our clients and for our own team. So it's really adding new services, but figuring out which services to offer, which ones are in our core competency, which ones are going to be profitable, because you have to be able to charge enough and have a big enough margin to then pay to acquire clients, because acquiring clients is expensive.
Yeah.
And just figuring out that whole sort of algorithm is, yeah, it's hard work.
Yeah. Absolutely. And again, like obviously managing cash flow on that in that cycle is what you have to forecast, which by the sounds of it, you've got that in place because you're paying up front for clients that in your case, yeah, they're going to pay you up front, but there's still going to be a lag between when you start doing that marketing and when they actually pay you. Let's say, do you know what that time lag is? 2 weeks, 30 days, something?
Yeah, so if I walk you through like a LinkedIn ads client, for example, in May we'll pay for LinkedIn ads and cold email and all these things to fill the salespeople's calendars. We then have a sales cycle that's around 3 months long. So you've got 3 months of wait time there before a client pays you the onboarding fee. And that doesn't even cover all of it. And then you've got sort of a monthly payments after that. So I would estimate it probably takes around 4 months to sort of break even on that. So yeah, we do have to cover that and have cash reserves to cover that. So it's not easy. Cold email was much better. It had a much shorter sales cycle, still does. And that one's probably sort of more like 30 to 40 days. Um, but yeah, it needs
Cool.
managing.
And yeah, so obviously your constraint then is kind of cash in a sense because you're constrained by how much cash you want to actually put into the marketing, or how much you want to risk essentially.
Yeah, to an extent, it's not really been a problem for us because we've got some good cash reserves. But yeah, for us, it's we've been struggling to find the right people. We have now hired a few great people. We got the great team in place, and then it's just managing all, balancing everything and making sure people's time is used efficiently and people aren't overloaded or underutilized.
Uh-huh. And so what's next for you for the business?
Yeah, so we've actually just rebranded Growthyard as our new name. So that's been a big process. We're in the process of growing each of our departments, but also adding new services. So essentially, we use ourselves as sort of a testing ground. So for our own sales team, we'll test things, figure out what's working, and then the ones that work, we'll offer those as a service to our clients. So really, it's just grow the agency from here, offer other services that are working well for ourselves to our clients.
Perfect. And so have you got any like details on what those other services look like or anything like that? Or is it just outcome focused? So like whatever works, you're gonna double down on that, or not double down, but focus on it.
Yeah, there's a couple that are under wraps.
Okay.
So, there's the two core that we offer are cold outreach and LinkedIn ads. We've been seeing some good results of meta ads. You just have to be quite smart with how you do your targeting to make sure you don't get a load of rubbish.
Yeah.
So that's something we're hoping to launch in the near future. we are testing it with a couple of clients and sort of grinding our teeth there, but cutting our teeth there. But yeah, hopefully Metarize in the near future, and then we do have one or two other exciting services that we're hoping to launch. But again, it's just about finding the right talent to bring in, and one way we're thinking about doing that is by acqui-hiring freelancers. But that's not something we've done yet.
What's acqui-hiring?
So acqui-hiring as in finding a freelancer that, for instance, maybe they're doing SEO for like a handful of clients, they're doing okay. We buy their business, but really just to bring them in as a head of department. So they get a cash payout. They get to then run their own department within the business and hopefully end up, sort of growing that department and still running it as if they were in their own business, but within the agency.
Okay. Yeah, interesting. So you're basically buying up smaller agencies to build out your product offering.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. And you said you haven't done that. Is something you're looking at?
Yeah, something we've been looking at. We've been coursing a few people, but that is on the roadmap hopefully for the next 12 months. So obviously that's going to take some managing and some working out finance wise. But
yeah. And are you working in the business yourself, or kind of what's your role? Obviously you're the founder, but what, like day to day?
yeah, so about a year ago I stepped back from the CEO role. So my role is now technically executive chairman. So I lead the big meetings. I'm in the big meetings. I work closely with the CEO, but I don't run the day to day.
Okay, great. That's a good model, a good place for everyone to aspire to. And so, Lee, so thanks very much for coming. So anyone who's listened to this and who thinks, right, I want to learn more about cold email, want to learn if it could work for my business, or anyone who just wants to get in touch with you, maybe they've got, an opportunity for you that might be worth talking about. How do they get in touch with you?
Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter. It's at @leebets_, or you can drop us an email. So it's lee@growthyard.com.
Okay. Anything else you wanna share with everyone?
No, just thanks for having me. Been a pleasure.
All right, Lee. Thanks for coming. And talk soon.
Cheers, Tom.
Good luck with Growthyard over the next few years.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks for listening. As I mentioned at the beginning of the episode, this podcast was created to celebrate the success stories of seven-figure business owners, giving them a platform to share their insights and lessons learned in order to inspire other business owners. As well as that, it's an opportunity to build new connections. So if you're a seven-figure business owner or someone who works with seven-figure business owners and you're looking for introductions to potential stakeholders, strategic partners and clients, I'd love to hear from you or have you on as a guest and see if I can help make those connections for you. Just go to synergycfosolutions.co. That's synergycfosolutions.co and click podcast. On that page, you'll find the link to apply.